So today we are going to be doing another constructive figure drawing demo. This time we're doing it for the detailed chibi style, and it's a 2-character drawing because I'm using yet another of my MechaCon commissions as sort of the inspiration and the platform for me to do this tutorial. So the commission is of Zoro and Tashigi, and it is intended to be drawn kind of shippy, relationshipy, so they do need to be interacting to some capacity. Now this is going to be a 9" by 12" commission on fluid watercolor paper, and while I would normally use a non-photo blue pencil, I'm going to be using a darker pencil today so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So my detailed chibi drawing style is somewhere in between the dots for eyes and my cartoony figures in terms of complexity. So this is kind of a good one if you're looking for something a little bit more complicated, but you're not yet ready to commit to realism. What really makes this differ from my other styles is really just the proportions. Everything else is pretty much the same. I just kind of push and pull the proportions to be more cartoony. I did a explanation of this in my constructive figure drawing demonstration, and you can check that out by clicking this link here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of lines of action. And I'm going to start in by sketching the heads. Now, the detailed chibi style does make it a little bit difficult to do character interaction because the heads are really, really large and then the bodies are fairly small. So I went ahead and I sketched in the heads because that and the arms are going to be what's interacting the most in this. And now I'm sketching in a rectangular shape for Zoro, and I need to do kind of an hourglass rectangular shape for Tashigi. I'm going to do the bow of their arms because I'm going to have them kind of grumpily holding hands. So as you guys might have noticed, I went ahead and I sketched in the parts that are interacting first because that's going to help me kind of gauge the rest of the image. And if that doesn't work, then I have to erase and start all over again. So it's best if I figure that out as early as possible. So I'm going to start kind of constructing the figures now. So I'm going to start with the egg-shaped rib cages. And even though I'm using a kind of darker lead than I normally do, I'm trying to sketch really light in case I have to just erase the whole thing. And I'll have their feet overlapping just a little bit as well. I've also kind of blocked in their hands. I wanted to do sort of a red string of fate kind of thing, showing that they're connected. But I'm going to leave that sketchy because I feel like I need to kind of block in the rest of the arms, especially since I'm running out of space. I want to make sure that everything, like these are looking a little bit long, so I may redraw them up here a little bit more. And now that I have their figures kind of sketched in, I want to go ahead and start tightening up their faces. So I start with the sphere for both of them. And then I bring kind of the shovel or the spade down a little bit. And I connect it to the midway dividing point on the cross section of the circle or on the sphere. And I do the same for Zoro. And I'm going to start blocking in their facial features as well. So I go ahead and I place that invisible center eye that allows me to center the actual eyes. Sketch in the eyebrows. And then I mark off the hairline, as well as the noses and the mouths. Go ahead and I place The ear, his ear is going to be covered, so I'm not actually going to draw that. Depending, I would draw that through, and I recommend you draw that through. But given the nature of this illustration, and this is going to be transferred onto watercolor paper, I do want this to be as easy for me to read and understand as possible. So sometimes that means less visual information. But while you're learning, I highly recommend you do actually place it. Really, I should make his whole torso broader. Now I'll start sketching in her face as well. And I'm going to start blocking in her hair. Also going to have her glasses propped up into her hair. So I'm going to start by locking them in. And remember, when you're drawing in this kind of style, things like glasses need to be exaggerated and large, so they need to be in scale with the eyes. Go ahead and draw his ear for the other side of the head because he's got visible earrings. And kind of block in his hair as well. And make his neck even thicker. Now I need to start blocking in the rest of their figures. We all know Oda draws his ladies super busty. So we need to make sure we actually accommodate for that. And then we're using kind of exaggerated cylinders for the arms and legs. And basically my thought process is they start off wide, get narrow, end wide again. So they've got kind of like a bell thing going. Sort of gesturing in the hand. We talked about that string of fate thing. In this style, I keep my hands really loose and cartoony, kind of like balloon figure-y. I'm gonna start blocking it. Actually, I need to make her waist a lot wider to kind of accommodate for the top there. Move his arm and his hand down. It's always a little hard for me to draw when I've hit the end of the page because my wrist just basically falls off. So I have to be careful with that. Sometimes I kind of draw over myself as I'm searching for the forms I want. It doesn't really matter because, like I said, this is a graphite transfer, so no one's going to see this stage of the sketch anyway, except for you guys. And then I basically do the same thing with the legs that I do with the arms, where I start wide, get narrow, start narrow, and then get wide at the end. And then when I was at SCAD, they used to refer to the way I kind of kept the legs back like this as horse legs. That doesn't really work for anything more realistic than this, but it actually works fairly well with these cartoony styles. Locked in her feet. Now I just need to block in his legs. And we can start clothing these figures. So with almost anything I draw, I'm going to start by kind of sketching in a loose version of the forms and then working progressively tighter and adding in more detail. This allows me to kind of place everything before I get overly committed, and it prevents me from kind of putting down too much graphite or, you know, really getting the paper dirty before I'm ready to begin drawing. Oh, kind of unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to nix the red string. Well, no, I'll work it in anyway. I was gonna say her coat is gonna cover it up, and probably his coat will cover it up, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. I also kind of figure out what is holding the outfit together. So in Zoro's case, he's got this really wide belt that everything kind of tucks into. It's kind of the anchor, the center point, and everything kind of flows out from there, at least for this version of his outfit. So that's kind of what I'm going to start by blocking in first, and then I can kind of drape everything around to suit. Or I can actually have the red string, I guess, going in front of them. Then from the dress downward, the robe downward, it looks like he's wearing black boots. So I don't really have to do a whole lot with that. Okay, so I think I am just about finished sketching them in. I'm going to work on the rest of this in watercolor, but I wanted to thank you guys so much for joining me with yet another human figure drawing tutorial. This one for detailed chibi style. This one for a detailed chibi style. I hope the constructive figure anatomy is starting to kind of come together for you guys. You guys can kind of see how it can be used to draw a variety of styles. I still need to do a realistic demonstration for you guys. I haven't forgotten, but it's been really fun to be able to kind of cover the bases and go through all of this with you guys. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to check out some of my other tutorials on constructive figure drawing, and hopefully I'll see you guys again really soon. Have a great day, guys. Bye!